Good evening, everybody. My name is Satpal Sidhu. My wife, Under, and I have lived in Linden for 28 years. We've been married for 35 years. Together, we raised 3 boys who attend Meridian schools. I'm a Fulbright scholar. I'm an engineer, owner of a small business, a solar company executive, and former dean of Bellingham Technical College for Engineering and Trades. I have run companies with multi-million-dollar budgets and with profit and loss responsibilities. I immigrated here with 0 money, but I had 3 degrees. And I built my career to raise my family on my education. I know firsthand that the right education can really change the life of a person. I have always believed that if you give your time and talent back to your community, it makes a better community for everyone. I have served on more than a dozen local boards, committees, including Watcom Community College, St. Joe's Hospital, Clean Air Agency, Meridian School, Linden Schools, the list goes on. People ask me, why are you running? My answer is very simple. I love this country. I love the American values of hard work, high morals, ethics of honesty, and put my country first. I do not promote any personal agenda or a party ideology. I'm an engineer. I work with the facts. When I sign a document, I take the full responsibility. And to me, compromise is not a bad word. I'm bringing my experience to serve you. Thank you.
Good evening. Is this on? And thank you to the Tea Party for hosting this debate tonight, and also for your ongoing efforts in educating the community on the big issues that matter to the local citizens. I appreciate that. When we received news that Representative Jason Overstreet was not running for re-election, I began to consider who would be the person with the highest qualities to run for this position. And for more than 25 years, I have been involved in the legislative and political process. And along the way, I have encouraged many others to get involved, especially women. So it didn't take long for me to realize that my background and legislative experience made me a logical choice to run for the position of state representative. So I put my own name on the ballot. I have worked with many of you over the years, and you know my guiding principles that I bring to the table. And I understand the worries and your worries and why the Tea Party was formed. And I share many of those same concerns. We are taxed enough already. Government has grown too big and intrusive, and government spending is out of control. Not only are these my concerns, but these are the core values of the Republican Party that I support. My specialty is reaching out to all people to get things done, not just Republicans, but all of the citizens of the 42nd District. And I will focus on our common values to get the job done. I will work with people of all political stripes. I am committed to lower taxes, smaller government, more efficient government, and transparency for all our government officials. I will work for a budget that spends our tax dollars wisely without raising taxes.
Okay, the first question, Satpal gets to respond first, and you have...
I take the statement. It doesn't matter.
No. You made your opening statement, she made her opening statement, you now get to respond.
Thank you. Thank you.
Currently, in order to obtain a driver's license, the law requires that one take and pass a proficiency test. Do you believe the same requirement should be required of anyone who chooses to own and operate a firearm?
Yes, and emphatic yes. I think that I think that's really answers it. I don't really need to elaborate. I have an emphatic yes, it should be. It's something that is very responsible item, and we all need to know that, and there should be actually a test after every 5-7 years so that the person is checked back that he still maintains those training and abilities to handle that, just like our driver license renewal. Thank you.
Responsible gun ownership is very important. As a matter of fact, it has been a key issue for me in that protecting our Second Amendment right comes with a responsibility. And I have been in conversation with a retired deputy, and we believe that it would be important, it would be responsible for to go along with your concealed weapons permit that you require some basic training. That is exactly what I did when I received my concealed weapons permit. I felt that it was the responsible thing for me to do is to go out and practice at the gun range and to get proficient in my skill, my newfound skill. And so while I support 100% the right to own and bear arms, I also think that it is a very wise policy to also encourage training to use the weapons.
I just want to let everybody know I do not own a gun. I live in America, the safest place in the world. I don't need a gun, packing gun, to go to my work, to be with my family, to be with strangers, anything. That is why I came to America from another place, because this is the best place to live on earth. I don't need a gun. I don't stop people. People like it. Our Constitution is our Constitution. People have a right to do that. Welcome. Thank you.
Next question, Luanne gets to respond first. Governor Inslee has proposed up to $1 a gallon gasoline tax increase to address climate change. Do you support this? Why or why not?
Good question. Governor Inslee has proposed a low-carbon fuel standard, which, by his own numbers, will raise the price of gas by at least $1 a gallon. I think this is part of a whole package, his cap and trade policy, that has been tried before and notoriously failed in Europe. His proposals are complicated, they are expensive, and they will literally do nothing to reduce carbon emissions. But instead, it will hurt businesses. And at a time when our economy is struggling to come back from the recession. So, in addition to low carbon fuel standard, not only that, but the Democrats and Governor Inslee are also proposing a state income tax, an additional tax increase on our gas for transportation projects, and I believe that the citizens of Washington have been taxed enough, and I just think that for 30 years the Democrats have been in charge, and it's time to try something new, because these policies will hurt the people that are most vulnerable. A gas tax increase will actually hurt the middle and lower income the most. It would be devastating for them, and it affects all areas from the clothes that we buy to the groceries that we eat. And so this is a regressive tax and would be the most devastating to those who need our help the most.
Let me handle the last part first, and then I'll come to the other one. If you guys remember, in 2003, our gasoline was $1.10, and it was proposed that we should put 9 cents tax on the gasoline for 10 years only, and that fund will build all of our roads, not build, actually just repay. Our grandfathers and fathers built the highways for us. All we have to do is pave them. We have to build our bridges and other infrastructure. Same argument. Our economy will tank. We will never be able to compete with Oregon, and all these transportation companies will fail. Inflation will go through the roof. Same thing today. You know how much we are paying for today? $4 for gas. This is the scare tactics we have been hearing every time. Nobody thinks 20 years from today. Everybody thinks tomorrow. We don't run our country by thinking of tomorrow. We need to think of 20 years from today and be bold to take bold decisions, not scare people.
I am convinced that Governor Inslee's plan, part of his whole climate policy, is destructive for the citizens of Washington State. A gas tax that is going to be upwards of $5 per gallon of gas. I don't think that that is something that the citizens of Washington State want. And these are, by Governor Inslee's own numbers, projected to be over $1 per gallon of gas. And like I said, this is going to hurt the people that need it the most, the middle and low income earners. And it's not going to hurt those who earn the most money. It's going to hurt those that are in the middle and lower income brackets.
Excuse me. Wasn't I supposed to get 2 minutes to respond to that? 30 seconds.
If you respond first, then you get 1
I have
minute.
some more to add, but I'll keep it.
You now have 2 minutes to respond to the third question.
All right.
The Washington State Supreme Court has found our legislature in contempt for failing to fund K-12 schools as required by our state constitution. How will our state find funding sources for K-12 without increasing college tuition or cutting other critical state services?
Yes, what a burning question. Everybody keeps talking about money. Let me talk about this. The first thing is, there's enough money in the government. If we just close the loopholes, you know what we do? We start a tax break. Today, suppose 50 years ago, timber industry was going down and we need to give them a subsidy. We did. And then we forgot about it. And there's so many, there's more than 600 tax subsidies given over last 50 to 60 years, and they're still in place. You know, you go back to the same guy, say, hey, we gave you subsidy about 25 years ago, should we take it back? Oh, no. Don't talk about me. Go do something else. I think that's the first reform we need to do. Because we are so spendthrift. We just think that everybody is vested interested. Lobbyists, why would they pay millions of dollars to lobbyists? Because they want to keep that dole coming to them. We talk about people, there are corporations on the dole. First thing, we need to close that. We will have enough money to do that. Second thing, everybody talks about how we're going to put 20% of the budget and 15% of the budget and we're going to close this. And, you know, nobody is paying attention to our education system is fundamentally flawed. It has served its purpose. We need to change that. That's what Supreme Court said. They didn't say give the money. They say you should revisit the school, education system, higher ed, and all this. Nobody wants to take 20 years. Nobody is a visionary. They want to take a quick route. I can take $2 million here, put it here, this is here, this balances, I can go home. We need to fix our education with a 20-year program and fund it for 20 years, not this gimmicks. That's where I stand. And there's enough money in the government to pay for it. We don't need to raise taxes.
The Senate, a majority coalition, which Doug Erickson was a part of, has shown the way. And they have shown that we do not need to raise taxes to fix our budgetary issues. And the majority coalition caucus put $1 billion into education and did not raise college tuition rates. And these are the kind of things that can be done when you prioritize spending. And I look forward to the idea of perhaps a similar coalition caucus on the House side, that reasonable Republicans and reasonable Democrats can come together to get the job done. I will fight against tax increases because I see that we can prioritize funding for education without raising taxes, and that's what I'm going to fight for in Olympia.
I think that it's easy to read party memos and read statements, but reality is a little bit different. The reality is how you define a reasonable Republican. You guys figure that out. Let me talk about the Senate majority coalition and $1 billion. I'm coming back to the same thing. Everybody is concentrating on the money. They're not looking at education system. We need to fix the education system, find what is wrong, what needs to be changed, and then talk the money. What money would take it to fix it for 20 years? We are saying, let's throw the money and go home. Let's throw the, give us, 2 years from now, we'll be talking the same thing. That, oh, there's no money. Oh, this is not missing. We need to really have a visionary leaders who can think ahead, not think yesterday.
Fourth question goes to Luanne first. Should incorporated businesses have the same constitutional rights as people in the electoral process?
So I think the question is, are corporations people? Well, you know what? Our business is a corporation. So I defy you to say that I am not a person who doesn't have equal opportunity, doesn't deserve equal opportunity, and the same rights as anybody else. There are people behind corporations, and we have been involved in a local business since our family started it in 1974, and this business has grown to be very successful, and over the years has created hundreds of well-paying jobs here in Whatcom County. Now, there are real faces behind that business, and this has been an important part of our foundation. The businesses are the backbone of our county, and whether it's called a corporation or a business, that's just a legal term. But the fact is that we need businesses to be successful. And one of the things that I'm going to do when I go down to Olympia is to do what I can to roll back the regulations on businesses, because it has become very hard to be a successful business here in Whatcom County. And I think it's time for legislature to take back some of the authority that has been granted to the agencies and allow our businesses to be the best that they can be.
I think the question is, are corporation people or not? It's nothing to do with successful or not successful. It's not in our Constitution. It's not. It's an artificial entity. Now you tell me, a corporation is owned by tens of thousands of shareholders. There are 20 people on the board. There are probably 10 people on the management. Now these 30 people sit and decide what we're going to do, what view we're going to promote, and what view we're going to not promote. Is that fair to other 100,000 people who own the same corporation? I think that United Citizen decision is not good for our country. It will hurt Republicans, it will hurt Democrats, it will hurt all Americans. We should wake up and not wait for another 20, 30 years when it is difficult to do. Inequality of income is our biggest issue. America has been great because we had the most prosperous middle class and largest middle class in the world, and we are losing that. Thank you.
Well, I believe in the genius of the American people, and I know that right here in Whatcom County, there are people who have formed corporations or who have formed businesses that are the backbone of this county. They have worked hard, and corporate taxes here in our country are the highest in the world. And so I think it's time that we make it easier for them to do business here locally in Whatcom County. And as far as corporate, that's just a legal definition, a legal designation. But the truth is that there is double and triple taxation for anyone who owns a business.
I'm going to exercise the rights of the chair for a moment and say that I probably should have rewritten this question to say incorporated businesses and unions. Luanne, you have the closing statement first.
Thank you. Lots of great issues discussed tonight, and it's pretty clear where we stand on the issues and the differences that we have. The fact is for 30 years, Seattle liberals have been in charge of our Washington state government. Washington has been liberal for too long, and voters are tired of one-party control. And I think we can do better, and I think it's time to try something new. I will be a representative who believes in the power of the individual and not government to create jobs and improve our quality of life. 20 years ago, another Republican woman represented the 42nd District, and I had the pleasure of working on her campaign. Senator Ann Anderson was an inspiration to me. She raised her family, she helped run her family business, and she gave back to the community and with her public service. And it would be an honor to follow in her footsteps, and I hope that I will be an inspiration to the next generation, and I would be honored to receive your vote.
I am the first generation immigrant. I came here 40 years ago, and I came here by choice. America is the best place to live in the world, and I'll never forget that, and I value that. In conclusion, I would just like to say that only one candidate in front of you right now is who has actually created jobs, who's actually ran several successful companies, who has actually balanced budgets, who has actually volunteered to non-partisan organizations in our community, who's actually built alliances and made compromise solutions, who's actually got things done, who actually looks at the facts and don't read the party memos every day. Actually, who's the real deal. You remember the Burger King commercial? Where is the beef? I got the beef. I'm a food right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.